All right, what I'm doing here, everybody quiet? What I'm working on is adding this subtitle to the bottom. Students spend their summers doing daring things. And this is going to be, again, at the bottom here. And I'm going to make sure that I'm on the right layer. Just so happened that I guess I'm gonna put on my topmost accent layer here. I'm gonna zoom in with the zoom tool. Z for zoom. Click and draw a marquee. T for type. And now I'm going to click and drag a marquee that is the same width as the frame that holds the word conditions. And I'll type it in the text here. Students spent their summers doing daring things, period. So, students spent their summers doing daring things, period. Now, I'm actually going to hide my photos layer because I don't want to, I want to see the type here. So I just click on the eyeball of the photo layer in the layers panel to hide it away. I'll get it out later when I want to mock up the rest, but I want to see this individually. I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to choose the paragraph panel. And if you don't have a panel, go to Window and you'll find it. Paragraph and type, they are actually under the type and tables subset there. Okay, so you'll see paragraph if you don't have it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to align to center this paragraph. So students spent their summers doing daring things. I'm aligning to center. And because my two frames are the same size, condition frame and the frame for this subtitle are the same size, I'm in good shape. I'm also going to go to my character panel and I'll start cranking up the font size. Click up arrow, up arrow, up arrow, and that's okay now. I don't want to make too big. Like deselect, and I want to tuck it in a little bit here. I don't want this frames to be too big. I want to keep frames the right size. And I'll bring out my zoom, control 0 to zoom out, and I'll W this, and I'll take a look at what I have, and it seems that I have okay. Okay? Am I happy to this group? Yes. If I'm happy to this, I'll move on. I'll expose my photo layer and take a look at what it looks like. Looking good. Hello, hello. Who wrote this? Huh. Any questions?
They're helping, but I'm working.
All right, here we go. Yearbook 1. Now we're going to start working on the captions. And you're going to notice that we have captions for pictures in here, in here, in here, in here, in here, in here, and a little accent over here that we're not going to call this a caption. So, captions need to be Arial 8. Okay? You're going to notice I'm going to zoom in here. And you're going to notice that there is a part that is all caps and that is also bolded. And this is usually what we call a little attention getter. Or you can also think of it as some sort of a subject line for your caption. So, a taste of India, blah, 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 blah. Vietnam visit, blah, 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 blah. So, the rest of this type needs to be in Arial 8. Alright, so, excuse me. I use the type tool. I draw a type frame, text frame. And then I deselect it out of it by clicking the selection tool. Now I see the handle anchor points. I'll go right click on the text frame and I see this text frame fill with placeholder text. I'll click on that. That's going to give me mumbo jumbo. But this is just placeholding text. It is not Chinese. It's not Greek. It's nothing. This is just a quick way of mocking up text to be able to tell what's going to look like. At this point, I also want to format this text to the size that I want. I go to type tool. I change the type font to Arial. I'll make this 8 point. And that's what I got. Because I want to mock up the attention getter, I'm going to highlight this front sentence here. And now make it bold. And also all caps. So that's going to be my attention getter. And I'll capitalize the first letter of my sentence, the following sentence here. Remember that the attention getter is really not part of your text body on a caption. One thing that you're going to notice too is that it's very important for us to always match the edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag this edge to make it match to the edge of the top picture frame. And just because I'm cheating, I need to make sure that everything is evenly distributed and spaced. I'll click on this guy here and pay attention to the black magic. I'm going to Control, Alt, click and drag, and that is going to create a copy of what I have from before because I don't want to redo everything. I'm just mocking it up anyways. I'm just pretending. This is all pretend. Control, Alt, click does the job. I'll Control, Alt, 0 to take a look at what I have. And you're going to notice that now I have these two caption boxes over here. I'm going to do more of the black magic by doing this. The idea here is that I want to copy these two text frames that are here, caption block text frames, onto the bottom of the two pictures that I have here. So I'll select both. I'll shift click or marquee, draw marquee on the two boxes just to select them both at the same time. And I'll do the same thing. I'll Control, Alt, click and drag to make a copy of this on the other side. Okay? I'll zoom in now, and I'll fix this up because obviously the sizes are incompatible. And I need to make it match on the other side. Let me see here, my example here. This set of captions fits the width of the the picture frames on the right hand side corner. So I need to do so here. I'm actually going to erase one of them or just put one out there. I don't want to really use it. And I'll click and drag a corner here. And boom, this is what I got. I'll just do the same thing here. I'll Control, Alt, click and drag this guy here down because I really don't want to do it again. And making sure that it is also evenly spaced. I did realize one thing was that my captions in here, if you pay attention to my screen, my captions here, the alignment, the justification of the text inside the caption boxes is left and right. There is a straight line on this side, and there's also a straight line on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing to my caption boxes as well, because these captions here, they are aligned on this edge, but not aligned on this edge. So how do I fix that? I'll use the selection tool. I'll select both type text frames. I'll go to my paragraph panel, and I will justify last line left and right. Click, boom. Now this is a straight across. Control 0. I'm going to go back in here and do the same thing to these guys. And that is done. Save your work just in case. But this is what my screen looks like at this point. I have 4 caption boxes. They are aligned correctly. And they are aligned both left and right. The next part that we're going to be working on, Control 0 to take a look, is really this other caption inside of the picture on the lower left. Again, we follow the caption format everywhere. So on my screen here, I really don't like this corner because it's very complicated. Now you don't have to do this. I'll pick a corner in which I can actually see my caption, and I'll choose this empty spot here. But whoa, my bad. I'm gonna Control Alt click and drag again because I'm cheating, and I'll bring it right here. And now I have a caption in there. Okay, so that's basically my caption inside of the picture there. The next thing we're going to do is, apparently there is something. You would probably have to pay me $1 million for me to go skydiving, and this is some random kid saying that. It's some sort of perspective box. Another thing that you notice on this box is that there is a drop shadow. There is also a stroke to this box. So let's do that first, and then we're going to work on the caption on top. And this is the box that I'm dealing with. So I'm going to zoom in there. To add a stroke to a box, and a stroke is an outline. First I'm going to click on this and realize that it's not selecting. And it's not selecting because my layer is locked. So I'm going to go and unlock this layer photos. And now I can click on this element. And now add a stroke. A stroke can be found easily on the property inspector on the top. I'll choose outline white, which is paper. And now increase the thickness on the top here to possibly about 2 or 3 points. That is a stroke. It may not look like anything, is because you don't have a contrasting color to go with this. Next, I'll create a drop shadow. Drop shadow you can find in Special Effects, which is under FX. You can go in there. But you also have a quick box here because drop shadow is created so much that the InDesign actually made a little toolbox right here. So I select the object that I want to add a drop shadow, and I click on that box, boom, and that should create me a drop shadow right away. I press W to check it out, my drop shadow, and it looks okay, I guess. So I got a drop shadow on my inset. The next thing I'm going to do now is I am going to work on this box of color that is underneath the picture. Okay, so it seems to me that I can make a triangle shape filled, and I can put another box here filled with gray on top. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to actually have to add another layer and put a new layer with the blue accent underneath this guys here. So I'm going to go to Layers panel, create a new layer, drag that layer down to be underneath the photos. I'll rename the layer Blue Accent. Okay. That layer is underneath, so I'm going to lock everybody else. That is all going to be locked up because I don't want to mess around with these things that I already worked on so hard. And I'm going to create a blue box here. I'm going to get a rectangle frame tool. Let me see, here it goes. It doesn't go all the way down to the edge, but it goes about past middle. So I'm going to go something like this. Something like that. Boom. So I created a box. I'm going to fill this box, but I need a blue, some sort of gradient. I'm going to use a gradient that matches this color because this one matches the blue here. So I'll match this color here. Or maybe not. I'll just fill it for now. My bad. I'm filling it with a stroke. I have to click on this tool here, and I'll fill it with some sort of red or something. I don't know. I'll leave it red for now. So now I have a box, but there's not a gradient. how do you do gradients in InDesign is very interesting. It's kind of like Photoshop, if you've ever done Photoshop. You have a gradient tool, and that's on the toolbar here. The gradient tool, I can click on the gradient tool, and I can go inside of my shape, and I can click and drag that in there and let go. And that gives me a gradient. But right now my gradient is black and white. Okay? So I can double click on my fill and decide that, my bad, hold on. My gradient right now is in black fill. Let me see. RGB CMYK. Where's my? Oh, here goes. Yeah, you have to have the gradient tool panel open, guys. Okay, you have to have the gradient panel open. On the gradient panel, you're gonna have to use this color stops. Right now, under my gradient panel, if you don't have a gradient panel, I think you can just double click on the gradient tool, and that pops it out. My gradient is set to go from white to black. I want it to go from white to whatever. So white, I'm going to leave it alone. But the black, I'm going to double click on this. Color black. Oh no, I'm sorry. I am going to have to actually have this open here. Hold on. This guy here, I believe I have to select that and change the color here. Oh goodness.
Oh my god. No, it's supposed to be at the top. Like, coming from the top down. No. What is that? Draw a straight line.
Hold on. I'm like forgetting how to do this. Okay, here goes. Alright, so what I did is kind of tricky. The idea here is this. That you use you create a gradient, you apply the gradient, and then you have to go to the gradient tool, open the gradient panel, and inside of the gradient panel you have two color stops, and then from one color stop to another color stop, from what color you start with to the color that you're going to end up with, and then you're going to use the swatches to drag the color that you want to use into that color stop. If you don't like a color stop, you can remove that color stop by clicking and dragging it out of the gradient tool. The bottom, the little diamond thing in the middle decides how abrupt is your gradient transition. Okay, so that's how you use the gradient tool. And I just created a gradient that goes from white to red. Well, how do what? All right, the gradient tool, pay attention. Gradient tool, swatches. Okay, so when I first gave this tool, I had a black one. Hold on, now I can change it back. Hold on. When I first had this, oh my goodness, hold on. Oh, it's not letting me go there. Oh, here you go. When I first had this, it was red, black and white. Okay, Billy. And then I went to my swatches palette. You're gonna have to have gradient and swatches open at the same time. And you can click a color in there and drag the other one out. Okay. You can also use the color palette. And you can match, if you use the eyedropper tool, and you select the color that you want, you can click on that to actually use that. But I don't like this color because this color is not very. This color is not very very dark at all. Alright, so that's what I got here. Okay, so I actually tried and I matched the color here. So that's, my colors actually match the blue, you know, but yeah, oh well. You can always go to the color palette there and mix it up further. Okay. Can I move on?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna start making this caption on the top. That's basically the same thing as you had before. Control 0 to zoom out. I'm gonna go fish a caption. So I need to unlock the layer in which the captions are in. I think it's under type. And I'll fish one out. Control Alt, click and drag over there. Obviously it's going to be too big. But this guy here actually doesn't have a what do you call it? Attention getter. The style for this is going to be italicized. I don't think I need this much text, but heck, I'm gonna keep it for now. I'm gonna line up the edges, the width, and I will do something like this. Boom. Okay? So that's my caption right now. I'm gonna put some caption quotes in there. That's Jarrett and Chris talking nonsense. Non supio kat. Ne hudoro sete pondam that.
Do you want it to be white and black, red and white, or tan and white?
Doesn't matter. Just put a gradient in there for crying out loud.
On there and you keep switching it.
Do you want me to show me again? To show you again?
No, we want the gradient.
That's fine.
Okay. I don't want a black gradient like Paxton used because she couldn't change the color of the thing. Okay.
Yeah, because you didn't show us that last.
I showed you. Somebody wasn't paying attention. Moving on. I remember showing it.
You didn't show our class.
I did show you.
You didn't show my class either.
All right. Changing the subject. I'm going to add this little box here and to make it look like this. And basically what it is another box underneath this layer here filled with gray with the words perspective inside. So, and by the way, I have also names on the bottom here. So I'm going to go in here. This is going to be detail work here. So I'm going to get a little closer. Right now, that box is going to have to be on top of the blue accent layer. So I'll create a new layer here. And I'll name it inset accent. I don't know. You call it whatever you want. You can call it George if you want. As long as you keep track of what it is, that's what it matters, okay? But separating it is important. I'm going to lock everything in between and just so I can work with it. I'm going to create a type frame. And I'm going to type it perspective, whatever the word is. And I'm going to fill this sucker with gray. It's easier for me to fill with no, I'm going to have to mix in a gray here. So I'm going to fill it with gray, but I have to make gray first. So I will make a new color by going to color palette. Double clicking on that, finding gray, gray. Gray would be all the same numbers. So 50, 50, 50 should give me gray. No, that gave me black. Gray is the same amount of everything. So 255, 128, all the same. All right, that's great. Okay? So gray is going to be the same amount of all colors, red, green, and blue, in the same intensity, right in the middle of the spectrum, which is going to be red, green, and blue values 128. And I'll add this to an RGB swatch so I can use it. Click OK. And I create a new color here. And I'm going to, I need to change, the black font on top of this. This gray is a little too strong. Perhaps I want to go there and change it a little bit. I go to my swatches again. And I will tone this down a little bit. Let me click on the preview here. I want to go a little less gray. So maybe 115 all along here. 115. 115. Whoa. Oh, my bad. That's actually making it a little darker. So I need to go more. How about, what was that? 128? So I'm going to go 135 all along. 135 all across. Alright, that's better.
135.
It looks like it's even better than that, so I'm going to go even higher. I'm going to go 150 all across. 150 all across. Can somebody give me 150 all across? Yeah, that hits the spot right there, I think. No, it's a little darker, but no matter. We're going to move on. Okay? The next thing I want to do is all caps. All caps, so go to type 2, all caps this. I have the words perspective now. And the font that they have is pretty plain, so I'm going to go with Arial. Now the size of this font now is going to be something interesting here, because this doesn't need to follow any type of size as long as it fits what I want. So I'm going to decide on the size later. But what I want to make sure now is that I need to make sure that this type is actually at the center of the frame. And this is tricky. This is probably Yearbook 2 does not know this. So pay attention, Yearbook 1. With the type frame selected, you want to Control B or right click and go to text frame options. In here, in this dialog box, you'll be able to tell the vertical justification for this thing here. You can set it to center. When you can click on center, that brings the text, the type, to the middle. I can then further go to the paragraph palette and center align this text. So now what happens is I have type that will stay always at the middle of my box. Ooh. Okay, so I have something like this that is equally on either side. Now obviously the next step is that I need to make this vertical, and I can easily do that by making sure this text frame is selected, and then go to this rotate tool 90% clockwise, and that does it. I'm going to unlock everything here. The blue accent here, I'm going to unlock this because I think I don't want this to be so thick. I'm gonna go here. I want to match this guy, so boom. And oh, there's a corner there. Shoot. So I'm gonna have to do something about that corner. But it looks to me that this box here also has a white outline, and I will actually try to match that as well. See if I can select this frame. I'm not liking this stroke. It's a little too much because I'm going to be combining the two strokes. I'm going to actually make the stroke to be aligned to the inside. Go to the stroke panel, and I'll make it the stroke aligned to the inside as opposed to the outside of the middle of the frame. And that way I can actually get close here. And boy, this is going to be some detail work here. I'm going to get really close. I want to line these two edges off. Let me get a ruler. Yeah, that's perfect right there. And now I'm going to put a stroke on this sucker here. Boom, boom. It's going to be aligned to the outside. And that's perfect right there. And I want the stroke to be not gray. I want it to be white. Paper. Okay, so what that does is creates a stroke. And where's my stroke?
So whenever you want to put an outline on the paper,
Okay, so I have that.
That's why you keep pressing swipe when you connect this closer.
I'm not feeling this very much. My shadow is a little on top of it. Don't like that. I'm going to fix the shadow to be a little less. So I'll select the object that has a shadow. Go to FX. Click on Drop Shadow. And that gives me a dialog box that allows me to control exactly how I want this to happen. Make sure Preview is actually on. It looks to me that this shadow is not as overreaching, because right now my shadow is going all the way out. So on the distance, I'm going to lower that. Ooh, not 0. And where did it go? That went nowhere. Oh, I'm sorry. The size is the thing that I want to actually crank down. And I'm making it disappear, it seems. I broke my shadow. I don't know what happened to my shadow. Did I change the colors of my shadow? No, it's good. Oh, my opacity was way off. Okay, opacity. So I want to bring my opacity a little higher for my shadow. The opacity I want more. The size I want less. Yikes. Distance I want less. That's better right there. I'm digging this guy here. This guy's good. Control 0. Take a look at my spread here. We are out of time.